Do you think blue line blasts from the lunar ice ring would still be floating in space when these three galaxies combine?
I think it would have circumvented the entire known galaxy. It's that quick. That's what I think.
Do you think
We're gonna go back to the moon and Mars and stuff, but when we get there, just put a little hockey rink out there. I mean, it's freezing in space, right?
yeah,
And yeah,
no
I think
refrigeration is necessary. No refrigeration. Think about that.
Yeah, I mean, imagine blue line blast just flying off into the nether regions of space, eventually puncturing an alien spacecraft. They track it down. They want revenge. They fly to the moon. They drop off. We get a little tussle, line brawl, Brahmas, aliens. Who doesn't want that?
Well, Gloves Off, Season 2, Episode 2. Sam Sequenzia and Chad Seward joined with the legendary Mike Norgaard. And this episode is brought to you by three very special sponsors, Sam. One is Sub70 Golf, and I'm not wearing a Sub70 Golf hat, but we'll digress on that. That's my bad. Second is, of course, Farmers. There it is. Thank you. Thank you for representing Farmers Insurance. And third, new sponsor. How about a little shout out to Woodland Hills Dental? See these teeth? Look at that. All brand new.
How about that?
How about that? If you look at some of the old episodes and at the end of this episode where Sam has a little highlight reel, you'll notice like missing teeth. So I feel like a new man. I can smile again.
Way to go.
And now that we're not really wearing masks all the time, I can't hide it. Anyway, Mike Norgaard, the man everybody in Brahma Land has heard, but not a lot of people see. He is the head of PA announcing. Sometimes does voiceover for us. You were on the intro
Sometimes.
to Inside the Bullpen, and
Yes.
now the voice of the Frisco Rough Riders as well. How you doing there, buddy?
Doing good. How's it going today?
It's going. So tell us first, how is the first week of Rough Riders baseball going for you?
Well, we're off and running, and the Rough Riders are doing very well. Only team in the Central Division that are 3-0. So
How about that?
it's going well, and it's fun. It's a good time. Really enjoying the work out there. So, come on out and see us in Frisco.
And it's much different from hockey. I would imagine that the last names are much easier to pronounce.
Well, you would think that, but then we've got a lot of guys from the Dominican Republic, a lot of guys from Venezuela, and my Spanish is not exactly up. I am channeling some of that high school Spanish and finally using that. I still haven't found a way to use the algebra yet, but the Spanish is coming in handy now. So
You'll never need algebra. It's children. That's a lie. You don't need algebra. It's a lie.
cat's out of the bag.
Algebra is the way that they control your thoughts.
Yes.
You can do better.
Well, Mike, how long have you been with the Brahmas? It's been 8 years?
That sounds about right. Well, we were doing air hogs. So I was doing some air hogs, and I was just kind of filling in over there in Grand Prairie from time to time. And Wild Fong came out and did a first pitch.
All right.
And I thought, hey, hockey, that might be kind of cool. That's kind of my neighborhood. So I called Dan. I said, hey, are you guys looking for PA by any chance? And he said, hey, call Chad, because I think we are. And so I called you, and the rest is history.
Yeah, you sent me like a video of you announcing the starters for UTA basketball, and I think I listened to like the first two names and was like, all right, well, this guy's awesome. Let's do it. Because you have that there's a certain tone some PA guys get. It's like when you, I don't know, like a great, you really drag out some of those names. And so you had a cool sound right off the bat. And yeah, you didn't know hockey, but we all learned how to ride a bike once upon a time.
Absolutely. Well, it was great because like the first season or two, I had Neely, who runs the scoreboard, was running the scoreboard at that time, down there right next to me, and there really isn't anything he doesn't know about hockey.
Right.
And so he would just feed me what to say, and then I would say it, and it was sort of it was sort of a work study program for me, and it was great. And learned the game as I went along, and I think I'm 8 years later, so finally maybe starting to get into the flow a little bit.
You let's talk about one other thing. So obviously you either live in a recording studio or you do you are voiceover Mike, and that's your website, right? voiceovermike.com.
voiceovermike.com. Indeed it is, yes.
So you do, of course, baseball, football in the fall, hockey, and then
Yes.
you've carved out a little niche for yourself. What are you doing? Reading audiobooks?
Audiobooks and commercial voiceover. So I do TV and radio voiceover, commercials. So you may hear me on TV or radio from time to time. I do video narrations. I do training videos, e-learning. Right now they're doing, with COVID, everybody's been redoing their policies and training videos. So I've been doing a lot of those. I do the National Ministries of Health for Germany and Singapore, and their health training videos, and because they do them in English. They do an English version of them anyway. So I'm the voice of their training for the English version for their first responders and healthcare providers and all that kind of stuff. I do audiobooks. I've got about 200 books on Audible that I've narrated over the last 6 years. So I stay busy with that kind of stuff really during the day mostly.
I guess, I mean, that's such a niche thing. How did you ever get involved in doing, using your voice as a way to make money?
Well, I went into radio right out of high school. And so I did that while I was doing college and through part of graduate school as well. And so got into radio and sort of lost my Texas accent and retrained and kind of, some professional molding of the voice through some program directors that were nice enough to lend some time to me as a project and getting that up and going. And so but the sports part of it was more recent, about 15 years ago, 12 years ago, maybe. I just said, hey, I've talked on the radio before. I do all of this voiceover stuff and I love sports. So maybe that would be cool. And so I approached one of the local HEB ISD, where my wife works, actually. Go HEB.
Yeah.
And talk to their stadium. And I said, hey, I'd love to try some sports PA stuff, and I've done a lot of voice things. And so if you ever need help with anything, let me know. And he gave me a call back and said, hey, I've got a women's professional football team, and they're needing PA this summer. They play about 5 or 6 games, and would you be interested in doing that? I said, sure, I'll do that. So I did about 5 women's professional football games, and then prior to that, I called up the baseball coach over at LD Bell High School. I said, hey, is anybody doing your JVs? And he said, no. I said, would you mind if I pick up the last few games of the season? I'd love to try this out. He said, come on down. So that was my very first thing. And then I did the women's football. And then the next year, the softball program picked me up full time. And so I did a year of high school softball. And then in the interim, I had gotten a call from Grapevine Colleyville ISD, because I had reached out to them as well. And they said, hey, we've picked up the ESPN Kickoff Classic at the Cotton Bowl this year. And we know that you announce football. And the guy that we have announcing for us, well, this is his first year, and we don't really feel like throwing him into the Cotton Bowl cold for the first time, to call a game. And I may be giving something away here, but I said, yeah, no, I'd love to do that. That'd be great. And he says, okay, so you're at the Cotton Bowl, and you'll do Duncanville and Colleyville Heritage, and we'll have you on the PA. And he said, then he asked me the important question. He said, now you have done this before, right? And I told him, well, I've done a game or two in my time, which was exactly true. So I wound up at the Cotton Bowl with Duncanville and Colleyville and called that game. And then the following Monday, Duncanville called me back and said, hey, would you come out and do our entire season for us for football at home in Duncanville starting next week? And I said no twice, and they kept raising the price. And so then eventually I said yes. And I did Duncanville for a year. And the following year, Colleyville Heritage and Grapevine hired me full time to do both schools at their stadium on Friday nights in the fall. So that's why I'm usually absent the first couple of Friday nights of the hockey season, is because I'm wrapping up football over there.
Yeah, this year it's been a weird year. Obviously with COVID and everything. There's been some names over the years that have tripped you up. Remember Alexei Solovyev?
Yes.
I bet you butchered his name pretty much. I never corrected you. I'm like, it's a hard name to pronounce. And I would hear it in this, walking by, and I wouldn't think anything of it. And then one day Alexei came to me. He's like, hey, my last name is Solovyev. And I'm like, yeah, I know that, man. He's like, well, could you tell the PA guy? And I'm like, oh yeah, what's he been saying? And like, I remember one time I think you said Solovikov or something.
Maybe. It probably came out something just a little different every single time, just for the variety.
Sure.
World or KHL champion Solovyev.
That is correct. He is now a KHL champion.
Yes.
Mike, do you have any like favorite memories from Brahma games? I mean, is there anything? I know that you've been down there when we've had
favorite memory.
8 guys in the box at once. I know, and there have been games where you basically just said, this guy gets 2 minutes for roughing, 5 minutes for fighting. Everybody's got a penalty when it's gotten so crazy down there.
Come on down. I think I called around for the house one time when we had like 3 or 4 guys in the box. Of course, the crazy thing is I'm having to try to concentrate now, not so much now that I'm upstairs, at least for this season after the COVID stuff. And I did test positive, as you mentioned, actually twice.
Right.
After testing negative in between. So I was an overachiever on that one. And then the shots got me, both the shots. So, I missed a bevy of games this season, which was horrible, but hopefully we're past all of that now at this point. And I'm thankful Chris was there to help out, because he does a great job. But yeah, the interesting thing is when you're down at ice level and you're between the penalty boxes and they're full, those guys are jawing back and forth across you.
Yeah. Yeah.
because we're in the space in between the 2 penalty boxes on the ice, of course. And so you've got people on your right and people on your left, and they're going at each other. And you're trying to concentrate on what's going on, get all the penalties right, read, and in, and all of that. And then you've got all of this crosstalk, that generally isn't terribly friendly in nature, going on from your right and your left, and so it can make for an interesting situation down there.
It can indeed. I will say that the guys in the North American Hockey League are generally more polite at their crosstalk than the guys in the old Central Hockey League. I remember Smith worked a game once, and he's like, he's a church going guy. He's a pretty clean guy. And he's like, my God, the mouths on those guys. I learned some things I didn't even know. Yeah, it can get heated. And a lot of the fans that, they'll be critical of things we do, but your job is hard, because you've got to understand the referee, who's maybe not even looking at you when he's calling the penalty. He's yelling at you through a tiny little hole in the glass. Sometimes you've got somebody behind you banging on it, or a radio in there. It's chaos. And so, it's a little different from baseball, where everything is pretty sterile, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, it's different being, removed from the action as opposed to being right down there in the middle of it, and all that. But sometimes these guys, even when we get just one visitor in there, that'll sometimes be, ragging the official for their call, and not mincing so many words about how they feel about their officiating competency and such. And so I'll usually, frequently I'll call them out on that too. Instead of saying he'll be in the penalty box for the next 2 minutes, I'll say he'll be in the penalty box F-bombing the referee for the next 2 minutes, because that's what he's doing. So, I'm just I become the on-scene reporter, right?
That is very true. And that goes back to the whole, we don't have a video board thing. So we're going to really describe everything that's going on. Yeah, it
I
is.
want to let you know. We want to put you right in the middle of the action.
Yeah, I mean, it's you do a great job for us, and everybody loves Mike. They love hearing Mike, but not a lot of people, especially this year. Now that we've kind of got you in a like the banker on Deal or No Deal. You're kind of in an office.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like up there.
But yeah, it's often a thankless job. Come in, come out. So thank you. You've been awesome. What is it? There's got to be a dream.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And
Oh, I was just gonna say, what is like your dream gig? Like, would it be calling the World Series, Game 7 of the World Series, Super Bowl? I mean, what would
Don't forget the World Cup now. The World Cup.
Yes, the World Cup. That's Chris's dream job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have to say, I mean, the one thing that really I aspire for, I really don't know if it will ever happen, but I would love to call the International Curling Championship, if that ever came around.
Okay, well, that will be. Do they have PA announcers for that?
Oh, I don't know if they have PA announcers yet. But if I have anything to do with it before I die, there'll be a PA for curling.
It makes me want to book a curling event here. And just
Yeah, I think we can get that done. I think
what happens.
I'm cancel my appointments.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, just think about it. I mean, particularly if you're carrying over a hockey guy, I guess this would be more the play-by-play guy. But can you see the stone stopping right in the middle and going go? For the curlers, I mean, I think it'd add a whole new dimension to the entire sport of curling.
I think it would get really funny as they push the stone and you announce the stone's away. It's on its way, still on its way, just inch by inch.
They're brushing, it's moving. They're brushing, it's moving. They're brushing, it's moving.
At one point we had thought how funny it would be to integrate you and Dustin, our broadcaster, together. Y'all have similar senses of humor and take similar liberties with the play. It would be kind of fun to patch in. Sam, we can work that technology, right? We can.
Oh yes, we could do all sorts of things with microphones and callback. And yeah, I'm gonna get our crack team of scientists. We're gonna work in shifts. We're gonna get this ready for playoffs.
I mean, anytime scientists are involved, I'm excited.
Yeah. It's kind of like that Apollo movie where they just got only what they had on board and they worked in the room with it and they figured it out.
Allegedly.
Yeah, well, you can't lie in a movie, Chad.
And that's true. But if you see it in a movie, it's true. Well, we were Sam, what was the conversation with Dustin that ended up in Lunar Hockey?
Yes, well, Dustin seems to believe that what the world needs now is hockey on the moon so that we can be ready for hockey on Mars. But first, what would a blue line blast from Mitchell Digby do in a zero gravity environment? And if that puck were to keep on traveling, it would probably slap up against the wrong spaceship in the wrong galactic neighborhood, and then there would be a tussle, Earth versus them, hockey, the moon. Who doesn't want that? That's a short sum up of.
Mike, do you think that a
golf
golf
blow up a Death Star?
It could hit the Death Star.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that is real. We saw it in a movie.
It's in a movie.
It's very real.
Yeah.
Which item do you think travels the furthest being hit from the moon? A golf ball or a puck? I would think the puck would travel further.
Well, wait a minute. Who's hitting the golf ball and who's hitting the puck? That's an important element in this entire equation right here.
To have
our algebra right here.
To have a general baseline, I think Mitchell Digby hits both.
Yeah,
he hits both.
Digby sure does have a long drive. He was near 300 in the long drive contest, as I recall.
Was he? Yeah.
No, so yeah. Digby can golf. So the answer to your question is Digby.
Yeah, Digby. I'm going to go with the golf ball. I think he hits a golf ball farther than a puck. I'm changing my answer.
We're going to have to get this computer.
I'm going to go with golf ball.
Yeah. Golf ball. Well, we've got playoffs coming up, Mike. How do you feel about the boys as we move into the playoffs here?
I'm feeling pretty good about Brahmas in the playoffs. I mean, they've really been dominating. You know, it's interesting because one of the things I watch is the shot totals, and even when we come out on the losing side on goals, for the most part, we tend to dominate the shots in the game, which means we're controlling the puck. And so, you know, maybe they get one or two more lucky shots than we got, and you know, and they slipped in. But the Brahmas have never been short on offense. They've never been short on shots, and they've been pretty dominant, and you know, pretty much over everybody in the South. And so I'm feeling, you know, I mean, Shreveport's a tough team this year, and we did real well with them last weekend, and we'll see how these last couple of games in Shreveport in 2 weeks play out. But I'm feeling good heading into the playoffs. What do y'all think?
I mean, I think it's gonna be interesting to see. Yeah, we have been getting more shots generally and shutting down offenses. But I feel like we've played a lot of games this season against Odessa and New Mexico. No disrespect to either one of those organizations, but they don't have the fire and the fury that Shreveport does. So yeah, that last weekend on the road will be a telltale sign. But you know, I think in the end we're going to win every game in the playoffs straight to another championship. What about you, Sammy?
I think we win every game, and it's a landslide victory, and that's what. But we need to take them one victory at a time.
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
so we're sponsored today in part by Under 70.
yes.
Okay, so
Sub-70.
Sub-70. Okay,
That's right.
that's a synonym, so I was close. Sub-70. So predictions for goals scored through the playoff run. Is it sub-70?
Just Brahma goals scored?
Just Brahma goals scored.
Yeah, it's gonna be sub-70. Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 7. Oh yeah, it's gonna be sub-70. I mean, unless we're scoring 10 goals a game, I think, which would be great. It'd be great.
It could be the sub-70 of both teams combined, but that would not be good. We wouldn't want that much scoring happening. No.
I think that things will tighten up in the playoffs. We'll see 2-1 games, 3-2 games, games where you don't see a goal scored till, you know, halfway through it. I think that's kind of what you're going to see a lot of. But hey, if we hit 70 goals, that would be a lot of cheering, a lot of announcing goals. That's for sure.
A lot of announcing. Yeah. Well, I agree. So sub-70. So we all agree. So thank you, Sub70 Golf.
Yes.
For your sponsorship of the program today.
Thank you, Sub70 Golf. We love you.
Yes, because it is golf season. This has been the longest year. I can't believe that it's mid-May and we're still in the regular season. You know, I mean, early mid-May, but normally we wrap up the first weekend of April, and by this time of the year, we're already 2 rounds deep into the playoffs. It's just been so wild, and you know, credit to everybody, all the staff who's stuck around and been grinding. We've had so many games at NITEX. Sam and I can tell you, there's been so many games. It's good to see the world kind of slowly return to all of us. At least by the time this airs, are fully inoculated. All the 3 of us, and we're playing in New Mexico, and that's something that we didn't think would happen this year. They had the tightest restrictions ever, so it's good to see the world come back. And I think that next season we'll see a return to normal. We'll see Mike return downstairs to hear some of that jarring. If you're missing players F-bomb the referees, I can come stand behind you and yell curse words if that makes you feel at home down there.
Well, you know, you mean up in the conference room?
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Yeah. I mean, that just adds a little ambiance. So
what we'll do, in the first round of the playoffs, Sam will wear a visiting player's jersey. I'll wear a Brahmas jersey. We'll just come stand right behind you in the box up there and cuss at each other. That way you feel like you're part of the action still.
Outstanding. That'll be great. Hey, you asked me earlier about my favorite Brahmas moment, my favorite call. And there's one that came to mind as we're talking. and there was a play in front of a goal, in front of the visiting goal. I don't remember who was in town, but I do remember who the linesman was. It was Brendan Ast, and they got all tied up, and he was for some reason he was in the crease and got flattened. He on top of a player. There was a player down on the ice in the crease, and then Ast was on top of him, and then one of the Brahmas was on top of Brennan. And my call was, well, as they were unpiling, I said, well, hopefully everybody is okay under there, but this is hockey, and sometimes you do fall on your ass. I think that's my favorite call of all time so far.
Very, very clever. Now fans are going to be waiting to see if we have asked as a as a ref, and they're gonna be chanting, "Don't fall on your ass." That's good stuff. Well,
right,
Mike, we know you got baseball. You got baseball tonight.
Got baseball tonight. Yep, all weekend long.
We'll rest the pipes up. Fans will hear Mike echoing through the nurturing biosphere of the NYTEX Sports Center May 21st as we take on either Wichita Falls or Amarillo. Kind of depends on how things shake out. It'll be one of them. We can guarantee you that. We will play one of those teams, and we will kick their ass. Right, Sammy?
It sounds like a good plan. We'll do it for Mike.
All right, Mike. We'll rest up. Thanks for the time, and we'll see you here before you know it.
Looking forward to round one.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
Bye-bye. Well, folks, write in and tell us what you think of a Mitchell Digby blue line blast from the Lunar ice rink. And until then, I love you.
Baby arm.
Baby arm.
Great job, everyone. Great job.
Awesome, man.
8! Brilliant!
And take two. Go.
Anybody cigarette? Ask me for light. And make that death the coin. Speak for all expression. You're gonna play it. What are you doing over there? That's a really impressive Kenny Rogers. Yeah, I know it all.
Of the Lone Star Brahmas media team. I am not Chad Stewart. Instead, I am Graham Burke, and I am the goal. Okay. All right. No, you're chill. Hey.
Okay, I got it, guys. You're the best. You're the best. You're the best.
Thank
that
you,
ever
lads.
was. Love you, mean it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your day.
Barbasol contest. Something about shaving the beard. Okay. It'd be funny. I should shave it and then like nick it like 1,000 times. So I get like like Def Leppard jeans. All right, here we go. Ready? And yeah.
Okay. And take two. Go.
It is. It's actually, I know it all.